So if you own a business or you're even just engaging in business activity and you don't have a formally registered business, it's typically important to have receipts. You're going to have customers or clients that want receipts for their records, for their taxes and their bookkeeping and things like that. So it is important to have them and make sure they are developed properly and have the right type of information. Now, if you get set up with bookkeeping or accounting software, typically those can generate receipts for you, but it's not always necessary to have that type of software, especially for smaller businesses that have a low volume of transactions. So if you have a bigger business, or at least a business that has a high volume of transactions, then you probably want some type of accounting software. And if that's the case, as I mentioned, they can produce receipts right through the software, and that should be sufficient for your clients and your customers. But if you just have a small business with very low transactions, then it might not be worth it to get bookkeeping software. You can probably just do your bookkeeping in a spreadsheet, but you still want to have a receipt. So in this video, I'm just going to give you a quick demonstration on how you can make a receipt, even just by using Microsoft Excel or Google Docs to make it. Okay, so just getting into the demonstration here, one of the first things you'll want is receipt written up here. If you want to, I mean, you don't have to, but it's nice just to clearly indicate what type of document it is. And then over here on the right, you can have your company information. So your company name, your address, mailing address, email address would be good, phone number, maybe website, things like that. You can have it branded too, like you can have your logo. Next thing would be having some type of receipt number. I think this is not only good for your clients, they're probably going to want a number, but also for your own record keeping as well. And, change this each time that you provide a receipt. Next thing would be payment date. So because it's a receipt, they've already paid. So what date did they actually pay? Again, this is good for your records and for their records as well. Next thing, and of course this can be in a little bit different of an order, but billed to. So who was it that you billed? Who paid? Was it an individual? Was it a company? Was it a company care of an individual? You might want to put some contact information or mailing address or something like that. And then how did they pay? So was it with credit card or cash or e-transfer? Can be good to document that for, again, both sides, for your records and your client's records. Next thing, so here you're getting into the information of what was actually included in the transaction, products or services or both. And you can kind of break this down however you want, depending on your industry and the transaction. You might need a lot of detail, you might not need much detail, you might need different sections. So for example, for me, if I'm just doing, business consulting here, maybe I'm just breaking it down by session, when did we have that consultation? What do I charge per consultation? How many did I have? And what's the total? So if you're selling some type of product, maybe you have the product listed and then it's, $30 per product times, you sold 3, so total would be $90. So you can just have a clear itemized list of what all is included in the transaction. What all did they pay for? Next thing would be looking maybe at having like your business number or your tax number. This can be required in some jurisdictions to have like your federal GST number, like here in Canada, or just, other sales tax numbers. So you want to make sure you're compliant with whatever the rules are in your jurisdiction when it comes to those things. Next would be just looking at a subtotal. So with a subtotal, you're just looking at the combined total of the products and services that were included in a transaction. And then next, you'll want to have a breakdown of any other, fees, typically being like sales taxes. So maybe there's a provincial sales tax or a state sales tax, and then a federal sales tax like GST. So you want to indicate the rate and the amount that was charged. So in this case, $300 subtotal, and we have 5% GST in Canada. So 5% of 300 is $15. So I break that down. And then I have $315 as the grand total. So just a very simple receipt, but in my case, it communicates what it needs to communicate. And again, this can vary a lot from industry to industry and transaction to transaction. Another thing I've added here is just this stamp that says paid, just to like further indicate that it is a receipt and that this transaction is over with, it has been paid for. So hopefully this video was useful, and again, you can just download a copy of the receipt that I created just for your own template that you can make adjustments to, and I will leave a link to download that in the video description below. And feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel here, where I currently have over 230 videos that cover business management and business startup topics.